wrong because there's some greater moral truth that's being revealed by DOGE.
Look, there's a big, okay, like a lot of populist issues, the anger is real and it's justified, but oftentimes the targets and the details are just wrong.
Right.
And this isn't like, I've complained about Politico for the last 20 years, right? It's just, so I'm not capping for Politico or, reflexively defending them because I'm a member of the press and how dare you criticize the press. I hate the press. There are big problems with the media. And Politico, look, in the beginning of pandemic in early 2020, they created a special newsletter so you could have morning and afternoon updates with every policy change that was related to the pandemic. Remember all the school closures, the shutdowns of courts, all the craziness, the CARES Act, all the pandemic rescue packages. They had special newsletters just to let readers know what was changing. You know who sponsored that?
Pfizer.
And so if you're Pfizer, the healthcare industry, what you do is you go to these beltway publications like Politico, you sponsor the newsletters, you pay for these wall-to-wall ads, you sponsor, they can actually do sponsored articles where it looks like it's a news article, but then you look at the small type at the top and bottom, it says, this is sponsored and brought to you by Pfizer or their trade group, the pharma. And in addition, you got to believe that Pfizer and the healthcare lobbyists are buying a multiplier more of these Politico Pro logins than the government. They're buying dozens and dozens of these things, right? So, yeah, and you look at their coverage, it is not particularly critical of the pharmaceutical industry. It's extremely deferential. So are there issues around the folks who are paying for the news influencing the content of the news? Yes. And that's what I think people are angry about because they've seen this dynamic time and time again over the years, over the decades. And when they see big chunks of their hard-earned taxpayer money going to these media outlets that have, gotten it wrong time and time again in the past, it kind of it flicks something that makes them angry. I get it. I respect it. It's just it just as a reporter, as like a citizen, as someone who cares about truth, you got to fact check it too. This is not it. There's so many other examples of Politico getting it wrong, whether it's the Hunter Biden laptop, it's this connection it has with big oil, Pfizer, healthcare lobby, a lot of these big industries. Out of their $200 to $300 million revenue budget, a few $1,000,000, maybe even up to $8 million a year from the government, I don't think is enough to sway coverage necessarily. Yeah. Now, there are issues around access journalism that a lot of these reporters say, well, look, I'm been assigned the, healthcare or whatever State Department beat. I never want to bite the hand that feeds me. So they're always deferential so they can get the inside scoop from the certain government officials. And this happens in Congress. This happens in the federal agencies and elsewhere. So yeah, there are issues with how Politico and similar outlets cover government as well. It's just
I also feel like
the whole picture, this is actually very small.
Yeah, I was going to say, so I hope this doesn't sound like I'm patting myself or patting the two of us on the back too much. But it's I think the other thing that's happening here is that I think that the two of us and others who have been in this world are kind of accustomed to a certain level of swampiness in DC that we take for granted. This Politico Pro subscription, these government employees spending $10,000 a login on these Politico Pro subscriptions feels like a just totally normal average level of swampiness to me. It's not surprising at all.